hot.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
Definitely burned my tongue. Anyway.
No! Not this!
Not the tea being too hot.
Oh boy. Welcome to The Cup, the currently unnamed podcast where we put the tea in reality and you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm Logan Murphy, a Say Something Gay. And I forgot to grab other drinks before I started, so it's just water today.
My name is Jack, and I'm finally back because I'm not drowning in work anymore. Yeah, someone got that. Good. So I am a college student, a Twitch streamer, a game designer, a coffee addict, and an overall mess. And I have some thoughts.
Oh.
Also, I'm drinking coffee with a candy cane melted in here because I don't need to be healthy. And it's 9:30 p.m. I have like 4 projects due within the next 4 days. It is final season, and I want to cry, but I'm here instead drinking a coffee.
Me too.
I love it here.
Me too,
Yes. And I'm Robyn. I'm also back. And yeah, this episode was really, really good. Actually, I would say it's my favorite episode of the season, mostly because I love who went home. I've been rooting for their downfall. So yeah, we'll get into it.
I was thinking about it, Robyn. I think I agree with you. I think this is my favorite episode of the season. And I've seen a lot of people, there's a lot of discourse around this episode, around all of the different aspects of this episode. And obviously we're going to dive into it. But I think this is my favorite episode. Maybe, I was going to say maybe the first episode, but that didn't end the way I wanted it to. So I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The first episode,
From the beginning this season.
it was so good until the ending. But here, it was good throughout.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we come back from Tribal. Noelle was voted out last week. Do we have thoughts on Noelle's departure?
Bye, girl.
Since neither of y'all were here. Sure.
Sad. I like Noelle, but also I was like, okay, fine. If they want to throw another woman out, at least it isn't Carla.
I mean, yeah, Lana and I kind of came to the agreement last week that we like Noelle the person. We just don't really love Noelle the game player, is kind of where we ended up. Her gameplay just kind of ended up getting a little sloppy towards the end of her run. But obviously, seeing her win the reward last week was, one of those lovely, wonderful Survivor moments.
I love that. It was a great, if she was going to go home that episode, it was a great way to go home.
It was her episode in more ways than one. But we come back from that. Sammy and Owen are left out of this vote, and now they're scrambling to an extent. There's 2 different, ways that things go about.
This is Sammy's first time being left out, too.
Exactly. Owen is immediately pulled by Gabler. And Gabler's like, I need to do damage control because he's not going to feel great about being left out of this vote. And Gabler's like, I have a plan to get us to the final. I'm like, I have a plan to get us to the final 3. And Owen's like, yeah, but no one's going to vote for me. So I literally have not voted on the right side of a vote the entire season until this episode at the end. We'll talk about it. But Gabler's like, don't worry, I have a plan. What's Gabler's plan? We literally don't find out.
Right.
We literally don't get shown what Gabler's
that's
plan
what the season's been, right? We don't get a lot of information. We get these half information, and then it just connects in another episode. So.
Or we get it 3 episodes later. We'll talk about the Carla Cassidy dynamic later. But like, we got like it's so frustrating to me. So that Owen's over there having this whole conversation with Gabler. Meanwhile, everybody else is kind of like, so who didn't? Carla's like, so who voted for me?
Right.
And Sammy's like, not me. I voted Noelle. And then he's like, wait, why am I lying? There's no reason to.
No, he tried to blame it on Gabler, though.
He tried to blame it on Gabler, but Carla knows that Gabler
Right.
is in this sort of like group that she got brought into. And so Sammy's ultimately like, yeah, I voted Carla. And Carla asks him, I counted 5 times why Sammy voted for her. And ultimately Sammy goes, well, I just thought, you know, if you were to like, I don't know, maybe play an idol or something, like, I don't really know. I mean, in the end, Noelle would have gone anyway. And I'm just like, child, shut up.
If Noelle would have gone anyway, why get any other person's blood on your hands? Like, literally any other person's.
Right.
I don't get it.
Especially, why are you voting the person you literally said was like basically your number one the last episode? I'm just
I
like,
don't
understand. I don't understand, bitch. I don't understand.
No,
listen,
I'm not going to try to
much
vote.
as
No.
because there could have been a way of him like digging himself out of this hole, getting himself out of this hole, you know, but he kept digging it deeper and deeper. I mean, maybe it kind of worked because of things that will happen afterwards, but I don't get the play. I didn't like the play. It was kind of messy, sloppy, and yeah.
Kinda.
A lot. It was. Yeah, it was.
Like, we'll talk a lot about Sammy in this episode. His age really showed. In this episode specifically, like, it really showed. So, we go to the next day. We're on day 20, and it's a filler day, which I didn't realize we had a filler day left in the schedule. I guess I hadn't really thought about it that much, if I'm being honest. It seems like we've got a couple filler days now. Because by the end of this episode, it's day 21. We have 5 days left and 6 people. So hopefully reward challenges to give them some food. Like, that's what I'm hoping for, but we didn't get it, at least in this episode. What we do get is a discussion centered around Carla and Cassidy. Because we get a flashback from who fucking knows when.
Yeah, right.
Of Carla telling Cassidy about her idol. And that makes sense in the Carla cinematic universe. You know, this is your number one ally. This is the only person left from your original tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that. I would just like to know when this was from, because that changes a lot of the different contexts that we can put this moment into, and the show didn't show.
Put like a little thing on the bottom, like day 20, whatever, or day 16, whatever the day was.
Yeah, I mean, use the literal Big Brother approach of when they do a flashback, it is always super clear when the date was. Like, it's confusing because I like the non-linear storytelling, but also if we have no idea when we're going back to, does it matter? Like, that's the issue that I struggle with.
Well, okay, the thing that I absolutely agree with you, Jack. The thing I struggle with is you could have an entire 5-point plan made by Jesse, outlined in detail with graphics on the screen in the last episode. But you can't give us literally 6 characters on what day this was from. Like, the editing this season just seems so weird. And, like, we'll talk about Jeff as well, because I feel like Jeff is in this weird spot. I yelled at my computer, "Fuck you, Jeff," in this episode. Like, and I don't think I've ever really done that before, but I'm just like, it's so interesting the way that they're highlighting this moment from Carla and Cassidy, but they're not giving us all of the background information, I don't feel like, which just plays into the fact, and this isn't a spoiler, this is just my prediction, plays into the fact I don't think either one of these women is winning. I think a man is winning this season. I think it's pretty obvious. Which I'm not fully mad at. It's just the way the season has gone has not been any of our favorites. Let's just say that. But at this point,
I still think a woman's gonna win.
I think if a woman wins, it's going to be one of the most criminally under-edited winners of all time.
It's gonna be Cass.
I think it is. If it's Carla or Cassidy, I think it's going to be Cass.
I think it's either two people right now. Cassidy, where she's not having much in the edit, or it's hiding in plain sight, and it's Jesse, and they have been just serving him up on a platter for us and just showing everything.
Yeah. That's where I'm at as well. So,
let's see.
But anyway, I don't care about any of the edit. Carla's winning this. I don't care about any other options. Next,
I would love that. I would be so happy for that, obviously. But
she gets fucking
Carla
robbed.
winning is definitely number one. What I would want.
Yes.
You know.
At this point, for me, honestly, it's Carla, Cassidy, Owen,
and then at this point, you know what? I'll just take Jesse. If you're gonna edit it like that, like after Owen, I'll just like at that point, I don't really have any like list for the three of them. If you're gonna give Jesse such a good edit in that case, and like such a like slight domineering edit, just give him the win then. Like, I'm talking like you can give someone the win like full Drag Race style, but like, you know what I mean.
Yeah, they don't film two winners here. They film
one
winner.
Imagine if they film two winners.
Could you?
They're like just in case the viewers don't like who y'all voted for.
Gag. So, in the midst of the Carla Cassidy of it all, we see Sammy trying to get in with Carla again, using major damage control, but then continues to lie to Carla when Carla asks him, "Oh, who brought up my name first?" And in reality, I think it's Cody. If I remember correctly, I think it's one of Cody or Jesse. He lies and says Cassidy. And to my knowledge, I don't think Cassidy's thrown Carla's name out at all.
I don't think so, but it was a lie. And he knows it's a lie.
So that leads to like some distrust with Carla. And obviously now that we know that Cassidy knows that Carla has an idol, and pretty much everybody knows because of the beads of it all. But Carla doesn't know that everybody knows. But Carla is now a little suspicious of Cassidy. It plays into something that happens later, but like, whatever. What I want to talk about is this pure moment of unadulterated comedic break. So we pop up on day 21, and we have a boat arriving on the beach. And I love that Gabler's like, well, anytime there's a boat on the beach, it's something monumental. I'm like, Gabler, shut up. First, second, and third of all, Gabler, shut up.
Gabler, you're not wrong. But shut up, please.
I can't say anything bad. I'm sorry.
I honestly, if Gabler won this season, I don't know if I would be all that mad at this point. I'm just like, if there's no woman in the final tribal, if Gabler wins, I wouldn't be mad. But we get
anyway.
Honest to God, anyone but Cody. That's kind of where I'm at. But we get boat mail, and it's literally just like, advantages are important. There is an advantage on your beach.
Go, like, get out.
And they all
go.
There's nothing more.
Right.
This is some of the best editing of the season. Because I sat there just screaming at my computer, like, why are none of you seeing this thing that for us is very obvious? And when they panned back, you can kind of see it's not that obvious.
Oh, yeah, no, they managed to match the color of the bark pretty good. I mean, it was
really always good about that. Survivor's always good about that. I thought dead ass, it was going to be knowledge is power again.
Right, I did as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Did as well.
I was like, for the love of God.
They said something about knowledge in the letter they were reading.
When the person who gets it is reading it, I'm like, I swear to fucking God, if they are pawning off the knowledge of power on a fourth person this season, I was gonna scream. Yeah. I was going to scream. And so we see everybody going off. Gabler ends up going on some rant about Vietnam War battle tactics, which no one understood. I don't really care. But God, was it entertaining.
And we see 3 different people literally stand next to the tree where it is.
No. It's 5 of them. Everyone but Carla and Owen walked by that tree and lingered at some point.
I could have sworn that Owen was next to it as well.
It might have been Carla and Jesse, actually.
Yeah, I think remember. It was Carla and Jesse.
Yeah, I don't think Jesse was there.
We'll go with Carla and Jesse. Yeah, Owen walked by, Cassidy walked by, Sammy. Oh, I forgot that man. I have already put him out of my memory. Anyway, Sammy walked by, Gabler walked by, Cody walked by and starts leaning on the tree but doesn't notice. And I'm like...
And then the 2 of them, and then Gabler and Cody have a conversation.
And Cody finally realizes. And he's just like, I'm going to lean up against this tree. It's fine. Oh, no, my hand isn't abnormally high to be leaning on this tree. I don't know what you mean.
I mean...
And he ends up getting the advantage, which, like, honestly, more power to him. Like, that's impressive.
Fuck it, yeah.
Honestly. But... So Cody reads the advantage. And it is the choose your champion advantage, which I think is brand new to any Survivor franchise. I've never seen this advantage before.
I want to... Yeah, it's in a sense, it's essentially new, but it's also the same as what we've seen before. Like, obviously, I think even in this season, there have been challenges where there's been one person left out, and they decide.
And those have always been reward challenges.
Exactly.
To my knowledge, yeah.
Yes, so, that's the closest thing we can draw a comparison to.
Yeah.
So Cody gets
Noelle, in a way, what she had to do at merge.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So Cody gets to place a bet on someone to win the immunity challenge, and he gets to find out what the challenge is. That's the part that I personally thought was a little overpowered. I don't know how either of y'all feel about it. But for me, I was like, knowing what the challenge is too, like, if I was in that position and I knew what the challenge was, I would have picked the same person.
Here's the thing. Otherwise, it is literally just essentially a extra free shot in the dark. So I actually think the knowledge about the challenge makes it an advantage versus a random throwaway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no other way to do
the shot in the fucking dark.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen this type of advantage before. It's basically an idol that will be automatic, that has a single round expiry date and will automatically be played on you if the person who won immunity is you selected them.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, this would be a 1 in 6. That is a very strong word, normally, in this case.
The circumstances of this episode are just kind of wild. Honestly.
This is the one, and I'm going to get into an argument later like almost it's essentially a rant of something that I saw online that it was like that I didn't exactly agree with, and as such, I'm going to tear down violently because that is the only form of release that I have in the world. But of all episodes to accidentally give out an extra necklace on, and especially in this way that the odds accidentally increased by double, that was very funny. Just to see the twist like accidentally backfire on them in a way they could have never expected.
Truly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like that Cody got to know what the challenge was. But I will say, knowing that Owen's like a super fan and he probably was around camp, like talking about, oh, the last gasp, you know, like, I don't know if that was truly fair to like have that challenge that they, but whatever. Owen got to live his little survivor dreams. But still, it's like, it was obvious whoever got it, if it wasn't Owen, they were probably going to pick Owen. They'll be like, oh, this is dream. He would probably win it. Well,
and with every
bottom, and he'll want to go the hardest.
That, and with every challenge thus far having been won by a different person, like that also throws a little bit of a spanner in, because like every challenge up until this point had a different winner. So it's like, how do you gauge like who to pick? I do think I agree with you, Robyn. Like, Owen's gonna go the hardest. He knows he's on the bottom. He's a super fan. Carla even confirms later in the episode that
they had talked about it before.
Oh yeah, they had been talking about it. So
I'm like,
yeah,
rigmarole.
I like this advantage. I'm gonna be honest. I don't
like the advantage as well. I
don't love all of the more modern advantages. Again, we'll talk about the shot in the dark later. But I thought this was really fun, different, not all that inconsequential.
Right.
But inconsequential, honestly, in the scope of this season.
Yes.
Like on another season, if someone else had won this, I think it would have had a lot more implication. But I like it overall. I hope it returns.
Right.
I could see this being used as like not an idol replacement, but something similar, where if like someone feels like they're in a weird position, like it's hidden on the island, and it's like before an individual immunity challenge starts, you present this to Jeff with the name on it, and now everybody knows that you have a chance at immunity. If you're on the bottom, that fact alone could save you. And it's an interesting, almost like bluffing game, because let's be realistic, Cody was in no danger at all. So like it didn't matter if he got it. Like if Sammy had got it, then it could have been an interesting note to take. But Cody was not in as much peril. And I'm not sure if that was because everyone knew that he potentially had immunity, or if it was just he just wasn't a target. But the interesting bluffing aspect of potentially trying to get votes onto you when you know you're safe and you're going to intentionally burn them, or trying to bluff that you chose the right person. That's an interesting dynamic, and I want to see this advantage come back. Totally. Maybe it'll come back during 44, because Lana.
It's Lana.
Hey, Queen.
Hey, my loves. How are we? Sorry I'm late, but I'm here.
Oh, don't worry. It's just Lana, our resident diva, here to spill the tea, give the tea, drink the tea.
Throw the tea.
I love me some tea, so give it to me. Here.
Throw the tea. Deposit the tea. I don't know what else.
Boil the tea.
Boil the tea. Sure, all of it. We were discussing the choose your champion advantage. If you have any thoughts,
I kind of like this advantage. I did. I kind of liked it. I was like, okay, because number one, it keeps people on their toes about who, we don't know who they don't know who the person picked. If they picked the right person, is if we throw votes on them, does it count? I like the whole thing. I liked how it came to pass. I found it hilarious that everybody went running for that advantage and everybody was right there by it and kept passing it and kept passing it and kept passing it. And then Cody was like standing there and still didn't know it was there for a minute and then looked up and was like, okay. And I just found that hilarious. But I like the advantage. I liked how I liked it. I thought it was a good thing. I agree with Jack. I hope it comes back next season. And they because he could have easily picked the wrong person. I would have picked that person too if I was Cody. That was the person I would have picked too. So it's like, because Sammy has proved, I don't know if he was playing or acting, but he ain't won nothing. So I would not have picked him. Gabler in a something like this challenge, even though they didn't know what the challenge was, probably not the best choice to go with. Carla won the challenge before, but don't know what the challenge is. Don't know if this is going to be her tea. So I probably wouldn't have picked her. Now Cassidy would have been in my rankings, like Cody said. I would have picked myself, but going to the next best thing was Owen, and I think he picked the right. I liked it.
We sure did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we do see he picks Owen at this point. And then, or no, he doesn't say it at this point.
He wrote it down. We saw it.
He wrote it down, but then we're supposed to, skipping ahead, we're supposed to find out at Tribal, and everybody finds out, including us. But then at one point in between, he goes, well, I bet on Owen, so I'm safe. And I'm like, are we supposed to know that info?
I mean, when they wrote it down, we saw him write Owen.
Did we see it? I must have missed
Did
that.
you see that?
Yeah, we saw it.
As soon as he got it, he had a little thing. He wrote Owen's name down and showed it to the camera.
And he showed it and he knew. Yeah. I'm about to say, we as audience knew he picked Owen. I didn't know he told.
I'm going to be real honest. I had an edible about 15 minutes prior to watching this episode. So, I'm surprised I have as good of a memory as I currently do regarding this episode.
And I was chasing an Uber driver trying to get my food during the entire discussion pre-tribal. So I missed that entire section where that was obviously said.
Good.
Now we can't go back on Paramount Plus and watch it back.
I know, right? Because
that's what I did.
Okay.
But you were
anyway
when you did it. So.
I rewatched it today. I was just like, just in case I missed it.
I popped through the episode just to make sure I had the basics.
As we see, Robyn is doing their due diligence to come on this podcast prepared, and some of us are not. And some of us have
I have 4 projects, okay? I have a lot on my plate right now.
I'm gonna need Lana, when this episode drops, I'm gonna need you to watch the first about 5 minutes of this episode just to see the mental state that Jack and I at least are in currently. And then maybe you'll reevaluate that statement. I still love you, but shame.
I said what I said. I won't change my mind.
Jack and I are here by the grace of God, let's be honest.
Are you completely wrong? No. Will I still take it slightly personally? Yes.
As you should.
Okay, let's talk about Last Gasp. Before we do, I do want to point out that someone in this podcast may or may not have gotten to meet the icon, legend, and star Carla Cruz Godoy themselves. Yes. I meant to bring this up at the top, and then I was like, I'll wait for Lana because Lana's probably gonna want to hear about it. But Robyn, if you have any highlights from meeting Carla.
Oh my God, it was so amazing. Well, first of all, we do a Wednesday night. We always have the Survivor Watch Party. It's hosted by people that host Survivor New York and like Jordan Kalish and everything. So it's an every Wednesday type of deal, but it's usually small, very intimate, you know. But Hi tweeted it out, so there was a bunch of people there. Carla
Yeah.
was so sweet. She made sure she went up to everyone and talked to them, and she was taking pictures. Same with Hi, he's so sweet, and he lived up to his name. He was high as fuck.
Yeah.
My pictures, you can see it from my pictures. I was like, icon legend.
I saw it.
But no, Carla was drinking. She's having a good old time, you know. You probably saw some videos. She was really like cheering on with the crowd and just riling us up, you know. She said, shout out to the queer community. This is for the queer community, you know.
Period.
So I really appreciate that. I'm glad to see her win this challenge. You know, we don't see a lot of people like her, queer people that are like bigger, you know. Like she's really representing. I'm so proud of her. Like, you know, there's not many people I want to go out of my comfort zone and meet them, but like I was like, we didn't know Carla was gonna be there. I know I was gonna be there, but I saw Carla was in New York. Like, maybe she is, but I'm gonna go and find out.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
I love her so much, you know. I'm just worried that she might not win. You know, I don't want to put that out into the universe, although it's already filmed. But I hope that she could take the W. But, you know, if not, she's still going to be a queen. And I could see her definitely coming. You know?
So I could see her back for Survivor 50.
Oh, yes.
I could see it for 50. But no, I love that. I absolutely love that for you.
In this challenge. Her and Owen just... Listen, I tell people my red flag is believing I could do this challenge.
Same.
It looks yeah.
So the two things that plague me the most in this world are not being able to swim that well / having a fear of water and claustrophobia. So this is just not my challenge. I would try. I would do my best. I would be the first person out of this challenge. Guaranteed, without a question.
Unless you're performing it with me, because no.
Yeah, then I would be maybe the second. Honestly, I don't know, Lana. It would be a competition on which one of us would drop out first.
I am so claustrophobic. Like, and this is something that has come to me very late in life. I've not been claustrophobic my entire life, but like lately, I can't do it. I can't do it. And even watching it gave me anxiety. That first swell that happened and they were under the water for such a long, I was like, I would just, tap me out right now. Like, I can't do it. And so I know I would have been, who went out first? I think it was Sammy. That would have been me. And I think
Sammy,
Gabler.
Oh,
Gabler. Gabler was out first. Yeah, I would have been Gabler, but like 5 minutes before he let go. I would be like, nope, done.
So basically what it comes down to Carla, Cassidy, and Owen. About an hour and a half in.
Yes.
Two.
And we
I
just an hour and a half. And then at 2 is when Cassidy drops.
Yeah.
I think Jesse dropped somewhere within an hour to hour and a half.
Yeah.
I don't know what necessarily I was expecting from Cassidy in this challenge, but I was really impressed with her.
I was impressed. Yes.
I was hoping she stayed on and held on longer, and then they would have just had to make it a 3-way.
Could you imagine?
I would have loved that.
Imagine.
So
I would have loved that too.
Yeah.
Jack, it's your moment. Go for it. Go for it, love.
So we get to the end of the challenge, and at this point it's been what? 2 hours 30 minutes, 2 hours 45 minutes, and they look out and say, "Oh, hey, the tide is going down." Like we've outlasted this challenge. It's physically over. And Jeff goes, "Okay, just so we're all clear, the challenge is going to end right now. Both Carla and Owen win." Because there's literally no challenge. And I saw people get mad at this decision. And I just want to go through the logistics here.
Please do.
This challenge is a challenge based on the tides getting higher to a point where it simulates drowning. So the reason that this challenge was able to go on much longer than normal is because of the swells. I actually looked back at the previous challenges. None of them, like some of them had like some light swelling. This one had much larger swells, which made it possible for air pockets to appear more frequently. This is exactly why the challenge was able to go on past an hour 15, where before the water would be so high that it's impossible to continue. So when it goes back down, the literal only option is to say, we physically can't go any farther because there is no challenge left. Versus, like, I saw an example comparison of like, oh yeah, they stood on a pole for 12 hours and they didn't care. The pole did not change. Like, that's not not
you can't
comparable. So
apples and oranges.
This challenge ended up having freak circumstances where something that is normally guaranteed to happen no longer happened, with a consistent water level turning into a much less consistent water level that allowed people to stay in. And to be clear, all of the other challenges ended at around an hour 15, because the water level got to the point they expected. So don't blame production for this. This is literally nature being like, yeah, I'm not going to play into exactly what you wanted, and you're just going to have to accept that, because the only other option was just having them hang from the grate, and that's not
for another
challenge.
For another 6 hours.
Yeah,
because the tides work.
It wouldn't, I did the math. It is relatively about an inch every 9-10 minutes. They would literally have to wait for the tide to go down a full meter and then come back up. That's 12 hours.
Yeah.
Were they just going to stop the challenge, then throw them back in the water 11 hours later when they would be having tribal?
All right, no.
The only scenario in this case is, unfortunately, to give out 2 immunity necklaces. Which then you look at Cody and go, well, you just got fucking lucky, didn't you?
Literally a 1 in 3 chance.
Literally his odds doubled. And it was just an unfortunate situation for the production team going, we could have handed this out at any other point and it would have been fine and we would have been okay. We chose the worst day.
I don't think it was a bad decision, though. I think it was just the way it goes. This is television. This is how things work out. In anything we do, in any game we've all hosted or played games, and you host something and you plan something to happen and it doesn't happen the way you plan. You have to adjust and we have to figure things out on the fly. And that's what they did. I don't think it was a bad decision. It was the only decision that would have been fair to make. Because what would you do? Tell them to come out the water and give them a whole new challenge? That's not fair, because this was the challenge. They beat the challenge. Sometimes you just beat the game. The game gets beat and they beat the game. And so in order for you to make it fair is to say, well, since y'all beat the game, both y'all win. That's just how it is sometimes. You have to adjust. So I don't think it was anything bad about when they decided to play this game, when they decided to play this advantage or whatever. This was nature. Nature decided that the game was over. And they said it is what it is.
It is what it is, and you can't go any farther.
And that comes back to me. Like, I don't hate the decision nor the decision of the advantage this episode. For me, it comes back to the nature of the challenge, and I don't love having that sort of like uncontrollable variable in these kinds of challenges personally. Because like we see this challenge, it goes on for 2.5 hours. The other challenge that immediately comes to mind when it comes to water and endurance is the challenge where you have to stand on the little pyramid. And those challenges we've seen last anywhere from 10 minutes, I think 2 seasons ago,
because
to
of, once
like,
again,
hours.
the tides.
The tides, exactly. And I don't love that uncontrollable variable personally when I look at challenges. And that's just a personal preference, honestly. I do love that both Carla and Owen won the challenge. Unprecedented situations. I like that Carla was immune. That's kind of where I'm at. My bias is showing, and I don't care.
That's exactly where I was.
I mean,
It was basically the scenario that I put it under is unfortunate that this happened, because obviously going from 2 players immune, which was the potential intent with that first player, like, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, I think if it had happened normally, Owen would have just won anyway, so it would have been probably 2 players immune. Going from an unfortunate 2 players, a normalized 2 players, to just having to add 1 more, and they had the extra immunity necklace because of an earlier challenge.
Now
So
but that makes me think then that they chose not to reveal that Cody had chosen Owen until Tribal because they only had 2 necklaces.
No, they said that.
I know.
Was it said?
That. It was said when they read it at the challenge, in the beginning of the challenge.
Again,
they read
I was high.
They vote.
I just think what happened is they had to pause, and production had to bring out that other idol from where they had it. And they just got on a boat and shipped it on out there. That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they just happened to have both idols standing by just in case.
Sure.
So that's not what it was. They just
what frustrated me, and I talked about it earlier, and I'm going to bring it up here. You know what? I'm going to say it. I'm tired of Jeff Probst. I said it. Because I think part of it is the fact that I've been spoiled with a lot of other really good international Survivor hosts. But the other thing is, you literally, at one point, while Cody is still in the challenge, you see Cody go fully underwater, submerge himself for a period of time, pop back up, try to get air, and then pop back down. And Jeff is like, that's how you do it on Survivor. And I'm like, drowning is how you do it on Survivor, Jeff. Drowning. That's how we do it on Survivor. We're drowning, and we talk about relying on your other leg when there's a woman who only has 1 leg in the competition. I'm sorry. I'm over Jeff Probst. I'm tired. I'm tired.
I'm not totally mad about it because, Cody could have lost his life, could have been drowned. You know what? It's an epic moment to kind of see, him not giving up, him like, I'm not going to really just go that quickly out of this challenge, even though he eventually did just tap out.
Yeah.
This is a good moment, and I'm sure they had the medic somewhere, in case he was drowning.
Obviously. It's just like that whole wonderful, like, triumphant sort of moment is then ruined by Jeff screaming, that's how you do it on Survivor! And I'm just like, no, that's not, Jeff! How you do it on Survivor, according to Jeff Probst now, is not feeding people, drowning, and relying on your other leg. And I'm tired of it. I'm done. I'm over. I just want to go back to JLP on Australia, and I'll get to in a few weeks, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I don't know why it bothered me so much. It just did.
Oh,
anyway, can you tell it's final season?
Yes.
This is a Okay. You know how you always say Lana rants and things like that? You've been ranting about this for the last few weeks with Jeff Probst. And I get it. I understand it. Because I find some of the things Jeff Probst said very insensitive. It's like, dude, now why would you say that about Noelle? What about the leg? One stand on your other leg. It's like, dude, Noelle ain't got an other leg to stand on and she's right there. Like, that's so rude. But in this moment, I am going to play devil's advocate for Jeff Probst.
Sure.
And I will say, I understood where he was coming from because Cody did. Like Robyn said, it was good TV. It was a good triumphant moment where he was like going down, trying to get himself together, come back up, and do it again before he eventually taps out. And at that point, really, Jeff only sees Cody going down. He don't know he drowning like... He thinking he's gonna tap out anyway, but he comes back up and he tries it again, and then he goes out and taps out. I don't think it was. I get it. I understand your rant. I understand it all. But yeah, I'm kind of over Jeff Probst a little bit myself. I think, like, I do agree. Watching other host Survivor has let me see how other hosts could be, even though. Although I said the same thing about Australian Survivor host. I was like, this dude is getting on my nerves. By the end of the season, I think every host starts to get on your nerves. Oh. So it's just at this point, Jeff Probst is at the point of, okay, bro.
He was definitely getting on my nerves last week when he kept saying shit in that challenge with the cards falling down. I would get so frustrated. I'd be like, Jeff, shut up. I
know, genuinely. Production would hate me and would not favor would not do anything to favor me because I would just be like, Jeff, I need to concentrate. Respectfully, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't need to hear this right now. And I agree. I feel that with Jonathan as well because how many times, Lana, did we complain about it? You know, it's blood versus water. Is it blood? Is it water? I don't know. Are they going to go with blood? Or are they going to go with water?
It was like 15 times every episode. It was a minimum of 15. Like the minimum was 15 times each episode. I'm like, bruh, seriously, we know it's blood versus water. We get it. Ooh, the blood completed with the water. Oh my God, what's gonna happen? Oh my. Oh my God.
The blood is mixing with the water. Holy shit.
It was so annoying. So Jeff is just at this point where it's like everything he's going to say from this point out. The last few episodes are going to annoy you a little bit. Logan,
oh yeah.
Do you think Jeff, when he said that comment about Noelle, do you think we didn't see it on camera? Do you think he was like, "Oh, wait"?
Do we think he acknowledged it? I don't know. I mean, he is a man of a certain age, so honestly, I don't know.
Do you think okay, so I realized what he said.
I found the thread of the That's How You Do It on Survivor. It's
oh God.
It's by Quiche Fest, player literally about to die in a challenge. Jeff Probst. That's how you do it on Survivor.
Yeah,
literally be drowning in the ocean. He's like, day 18 into Survivor. This will show your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, I mean, oh God.
Yeah, at this point, when it comes to Jeff Probst, will give my word of advice, as always, is just to pause, pray, and then proceed. Because Jeff Probst, he gets on your nerves, just like, ooh. So when he starts biting, you just like, ooh, okay. All right, move on.
Again, I think my reaction, honestly, was exacerbated by the weed in my body. I'm going to be real. But, yeah.
And anyway. I will say, I am new to Survivor, so Jeff has not annoyed me as long as probably
just wait.
Some of y'all. But I will say I love that he's at least there, active with the players, and he's not like Julie Chen, who don't give a fuck. He just there a little hosting and she leaves. She don't give a fuck about these players. She'll give a fuck about the show.
Except when she's talking about God.
Don't get me. No, there's a good period of seasons where Jeff is kind of that lackadaisical host and doesn't really interact as much. And since COVID, he's been a lot more dynamic on the seasons, which I do appreciate. I appreciate.
So,
exactly, and I appreciate.
So it's like the same.
Mm-hmm.
I think he realized that the show could be taken away. Like he got very comfortable in the fact that Survivor was going to always get picked up. Survivor was always going to have a home.
Yeah.
And then during COVID, it was like, oh, it could be gone in just an instant if something happens. So I think that invigorated him into being a more host.
Yeah. Well, and there were
But
a lot of
moving on.
things. Yeah, I'll say this, then we can move on. Because there were a lot of things in regards to 41 and 42, because 41 was supposed to film basically right as COVID hit the world hard. And as we've come to find out, there were a lot of players that were originally cast on one season or another between 41 and 42 that ended up getting swapped. The one I think of specifically is that Lindsay from 42 was and then I think it was Zach from 42 was also supposed to be on 41. And there was like a couple people that like things had to get shifted.
Yeah.
I know Tiffany being an alternate for 41, like so it's just one of those things. But yeah, so we go back to camp. Not a whole lot happens. It's kind of like, are we voting Cassidy or are we voting Sammy? And the plan ends up being that the majority of, I was going to say white men, but they're not all white. The majority of men, it's true, 2 of them are, but one of them is not. The majority of men decide, oh, we're going to vote out Sammy, but we're not going to tell, or we're going to tell Carla that the vote is Cassidy.
Yeah.
But we're not going to tell Carla that we're then switching our vote.
Yeah, because Carla wants Cassidy out. So Jesse's like, wait, that's suspicious. That's supposedly your number one. If you want them out, then maybe I don't want them out.
Well, what you're gonna do isn't what you want to do isn't necessarily what you're gonna do. Yeah, so we go into tribal. Basically,
I'm not mad at that.
No,
I'm sorry. I'm not mad at that with that Jesse's plan because it's like, look,
listen, it saves another woman, so I'm not gonna.
But
I don't like Sammy anyway. I'm sorry.
I mean that part, yes, but also because it is suspicious that Carla all of a sudden wants to vote out her number one. Like that's good gameplay to be like, why do you all of a sudden want to vote out your number one that you've definitely been saying is your number one from the beginning, and now all of a sudden you're ready to vote them out? Why? Let's pit them against each other and make her be the only one to vote her out. And then she's mad when she come back, like, who wrote my name down? And she got it. It was a brilliant plan, but
I think so. I think it was a good plan, but I just, in my mind, I'm like, what if she was just telling you that for y'all to think that they're not together or as close, that Carla is willing to throw Castillo under the bus? Because I don't know, maybe we will see that next week, that Carla was like just doing it to split them up or whatever, because she didn't, as we will talk about, but she didn't end up voting for Cass, so I just wonder what happened there.
I think Jesse's playing a great game, and we've kind of talked about it all season. Like, Jesse is kind of the really obvious winner choice at this point. I find his game, especially in this episode, to be very two-dimensional, whereas I feel like other people are playing more three-dimensional games. Where, like, Jesse's playing a great game, and he's doing well, and it's all of the stereotypical things we see in a Survivor winner, but I don't see a whole lot of depth to the way he plays, and one of those things, like you talked about, Robyn, is not factoring in, is Carla trying to throw us off the scent of, like, wanting to work with Cass? And I think that plays into also Jesse being a little bit more complacent with the position that he's in. And I think now that we're at Final 6, I wouldn't be surprised if he continues to stay complacent and we see a blindside against him or Cody in the next episode. where they still think they're complacent with having Gabler in their pocket, kind of having Carla in their pocket, kind of having Cassidy in their pocket. So I just wouldn't be surprised to see something like that. But again, I think Jesse, the plan was great. We go into Tribal, and the plan is still great. However, for the first time this season, Sammy's like, yeah, so I'm playing my shot in the dark.
We weren't sure if it existed.
Literally no clue. And then all of a sudden he's like, it's brought up multiple times. It's like, this is the last time you can use the shot in the dark. Yeah, so
last time.
And I mean, this is the scenario that they always imagine with shot in the dark, where it's like, okay, my vote isn't going to matter because everyone's voting me anyway, so I might as well get that 1 in 6 idol. Like that,
yeah.
It's the exact boring scenario that everyone thought it was going to be.
I honestly thought production would rig it to give him safety. I honestly did. Because could you imagine, and there wasn't enough time in the episode when it was revealed, so I knew it wasn't going to happen, but like, could you imagine?
Yeah. So it would have been a lot more public where it was like, oh yeah, oh my god, there's a shot in the dark and it's only a 1 in 6 chance. Oh god, I hope it happens. That would be so cool.
We would have got the dramatic music, the cuts to Jeff, the cut to Sammy, the cut to Jury, all of it. Do we have anything else to talk about specifically with Tribal? Because again, I thought it was kind of boring.
It was like everyone knew exactly what was going to happen, so there wasn't much of a combo.
I'm annoyed. Can I rant for just a second?
Oh, I gotta change the banner, but yes, ma'am, you sure can.
I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed with this entire season, and I'm annoyed with the entire season of Tribals because there has not been one Tribal yet where people got a whispering, where people were like, what's going on? Like, nothing exciting has happened in any Tribal.
Take it up.
Nobody wants, right. I feel like you, Robyn. I'm like, I need to shake it. Like, I would be so bored with this.
Lana, you know me. I would be so bored.
I would be so bored. And I would throw my own game just to shake it up a little bit. I don't care. It's just like, this is so boring. We go into Tribal. Everybody knows exactly what's going to happen. And everything goes
what happens when everyone's a super fan.
It's just so like, at a certain point, you just need to go, you know what? I'm just going to accuse someone of having an idol because I'm bored.
Although I do not like Sammy, I didn't really like him this season. I loved his last-ditch efforts this episode. You know,
this was the most exciting thing that happened.
Threw Cassie under the bus to Carla, which got some doubt going on there. We love to see it. And then the whole Tribal, he was kind of the star. Of course, he's going out, so I get it. But I wish he had been this character a little more in the season. You know, that would have probably livened it up a bit. But I know everyone plays scared because they don't want, you know, everyone wants to be in the middle, but we all can't be in the middle.
I probably would have I was just waiting for, I would have just got up and just went to somebody, anybody, randomly, and just started whispering, you know what? I think you look really good right now. Your outfit is amazing. Everything is going to stay the same, but I just want to tell you, you look amazing tonight. And walk away. And then everybody be like,
especially if I have immunity, I would 100% do that. The other interesting thing, and it's brought up at Tribal, there hasn't been a single idol play this season.
None. So boring.
So boring. 3 in the game? 4 in the game?
3. Yeah.
Is it? No, because Jesse has 2.
And Cody has
Carla.
1.
Cody and
Carla
Carla
has 1. 4.
No, Jesse has Cody's.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Jesse has Cody's. And he has 2.
And Carla has a 3rd.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But still, there are 3 idols in the game.
Entire game.
And the last time they can be used, I think, is next week. So
Cody and Jesse safe. Cody, Jesse, and
Carla are safe. So who's going home? Owen, Cassidy, or Gabler? Because
unless one of them will immunity. Unless one of them will
immunity. Idol or Final 5 idols are expires.
I thought it was final 6. I don't know.
It is traditionally final 5.
Mhm.
Because then they have the fire making right after, and that's why it's such an issue. But yeah, it's final 5.
Mm-hmm.
So Sammy goes on a unanimous vote. I would have loved the gaggery of Sammy being safe. Every other vote getting nullified, and you have to immediately go to a revote. Like I would have loved that for the drama. But let's be honest,
Cassidy would have gone. Cassidy would have
won. And it's just,
would she have gone?
Unless Gabler really said something like, "Let's get Jesse out."
Because I think the majority of men vote Cassidy. I don't think Carla, Cassidy. Oh, well, it would have been 4 votes. So if Carla, Cassidy, Owen, and Sammy, 3 of the 4 of them vote the same, then we go to a tie.
You have a vote?
No. So if the 3 of them vote together, it would have been a tie. 3-3. Could you imagine if it went to Rocks?
It would have been messy.
That would have been great.
Love that.
That would have been wonderful. Instead, Sammy goes home, and his final comments, I gotta be honest, child, shut up. Come visit me in Vegas. Child, you're 19! And Mormon! Shut up!
There's nothing I will do with you in Vegas besides go to Circus. Homie, stop.
Alone without you.
Without you, because first of all, I'm not coming to Vegas with a 19-year-old. No.
I just hurt my hand.
Yeah, no, that's horrible and stupid. Yeah.
I forgot this chair is made out of iron. So that hurts. I know. I need to stop. But
look, the issue is, and Lana literally said it. This season almost feels a little too predictable. Like we can tell what's going to happen basically every single time, which is really, really unfortunate. Seeing the last 2 seasons that we got.
Yes,
it's just,
yes.
I think
I would even lump in Winners at War. Sorry to interrupt you, Jack. I would even lump in Winners at War.
I think this very clearly states that we need goddamn Canadians on the show. Just bring them back every single season. I don't care.
We said it last week, Lana.
Canadians.
They could not stand having a Canadian woman of color.
That's what I'm about.
They couldn't deal with it. They couldn't deal with it. They said two's enough. Two's enough. We're done.
Or Canadian people of color. Just Canadian people of color.
Just Canadians.
That's all have.
I mean, look here. What it seems to be happening is that why the season's so boring is because the men took over. Remember that. Because when the women were running the show, it was an interesting season. But the men are now running the show, and it's boring.
Except for Ellie, but sure.
I mean, Ellie's a whole nother troubled piece of information that I do not ever
Sorry
want
to bring her up again, Lana.
Because you know how I feel about that woman.
I sure do.
I said what I said about that one. That one. And I will never take it back. That woman there. But when it's just, I mean, when you have amazing women of color on a show, things tend to happen. Things tend to be amazing. But when you separate all of the women of color in different tribes at the beginning of the game and put one on each tribe and say, here, fend for yourselves against all of these men who are crazy, and then that woman who is psycho, then yeah, things don't happen right. Then we get this season. But it's okay.
Well, allegedly.
Somebody fucking said it.
Thank you. Allegedly, we will not be dealing with the lack of people from countries other than the U.S. in season 44. So I'm excited.
Yes.
Allegedly.
It's going to be so good.
Allegedly,
we are getting an entirely new country next season. which
good.
is a real. It's just like a, oh my god, wait, that's been allowed. We've been allowed to do that.
Lana, I'll clue you in after, but
Okay.
I mean, I seen the spoilers. I know.
Yeah. We've all talked to Redmond, right? Good.
I mean, not that I mind Fiji. You know, Fiji is on my bucket list of places to go. I think Fiji's a beautiful little place to be. But I love the fact that we get.
That's not what we meant, Lana.
Oh well, then.
Oh no.
We'll clue you in after. Anyway, we'll clue you in.
All right.
That's that on that. A long episode today. We had a lot to say.
It was the rant over the bullshit that happened during the challenge. The bullshit that happened from people's views during the challenge. Let me specify that. The challenge was fine.
Yeah.
Listen, I danced over Sammy's grave. I gotta say that. I was having a great old time.
Was it a full Tamar Braxton moment?
I don't know if it was his age or maybe the edited him like to be annoying, but like I found him so annoying. I didn't like his gameplay. I found like I knew it was gonna come crashing down eventually. I was like, I don't like this person. I don't know why he just annoyed me, but like I don't know. It's not even his age because like I love Xander from 41, like.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not like the same personality wise, but you know they're both young. So
the development of Xander over the last couple of years and who he's dating,
fine and
yes,
yeah. I think I'm feeling why you were so annoyed with Sammy because I think Robyn, you're like me, and it was the fact that Sammy really had not loyalty, but like no game. He was just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it was so annoying because it's like, bruh, you actually could be in a really decent spot if you just pick your side and play the game right. You're just really doing the most for no reason at all. Like he was in a really good position. He was smart. He knew how to do some things. Him getting that first challenge for Baka carried him where people thought he could actually do some things. Even if he didn't win anything else, they thought he could win something. But his threat level wasn't high enough where they were like, we need to come after him right away. It wasn't until he kept going back and forth and back and forth. And then everybody like, Sammy can go with a wind blow. We don't need that. I need somebody who will stick with me and be loyal with me and work with me. But he goes back and forth. That was annoying. That's why it was just like, I just never knew where he was going to
lie. As someone like myself, I play in the middle a lot,
But you don't flip-flop back and forth like that.
I do sometimes could do that, but I think I played in a better way. He just didn't do it.
Not as obvious. Not as obvious.
Yeah,
it was very obvious. Even Noelle was just like,
I was gonna shout out where you could see Robyn play some games, but I honestly don't know where that is, and I would rather not affiliate with them anymore.
All right.
Watch Survivor New York.
Survivor New York. And I mean,
Silent Podcast is gonna cover it. Yeah,
they sure are.
There's also, I mean, we have this is also a personal announcement to me, but also watch Survivor Australia. Get prepped. Just like get prepped for the hour-and-a-half long episodes that are like 20 episodes deep. And also watch the previous seasons because it's a returnee season. Kind of, sort of. It's weird.
Where you go? I
didn't. A hot host. The host is hot.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's it.
I think so.
Bye. Hold on. First of all, not just bye, Logan. We got things to talk about first.
Thank you for joining us. If you like what you are seeing and or hearing, make sure to subscribe, follow, like, comment, share. Follow us on Twitter while Twitter exists. Links will be below. Follow all of us on Twitter while Twitter exists. Links below. We're all pretty cool. We all do things. Other than this, sometimes. Yeah, that
Sometimes.
and that's that on that.
Yes, that on that. And so, yeah. Cheers, y'all. Bye.
Cheers.
Oh yes.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.
2
Bye-bye.
episodes left.
Yep. Bye. We still
Goodbye.
stand Carla. No, please go.
And
It's over.
Carla.